Alright, so little update. Yeah, we still got a trunk full of stuff, but with this bumper being like this, I just I don't know if they bumped into something there at one time, but yeah, the paint's off of it and it had a really bad prep job. So I'm busy pulling this off right now because I actually painted another black bumper to go on here. So let's get this thing off. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. That way you can see some of the improvements. Alright, well, just a little quick update on the black car. I keep adding to it. Not quite sure exactly what I all got done last time. The front bumper's painted. I worked on getting that assembled. We ended up getting the interior cleaned out. Installed a different shifter. Replaced the shifter cables. I got stock radio installed. Stock bezel. I think I have to replace that arm pad on that console, but that one's actually pretty nice. The seat had some burn marks in, so we replaced it. Just needs cleaned a little bit in this area, which will be part of the detail. The nice back bumper's installed. It did have some taillights with the melt in here, so we got those replaced. Something a lot nicer. These were the seats that are in it. They had a little bit of cracking, so I ended up, well, let's just say I got a couple sets right now, so I'm going to go through, pick out whatever's the nicest, get them together and get them in the car. Right now I'm working on this. This was the engine. Everything ran that was in this car. The turbo worked, everything like that. But here is the exhaust manifold. It had a crack on the top, which wasn't really a big deal. It kind of looked like it was leaking over here around cylinder 1, but normally I wouldn't have even taken this off. There's actually a crack here in this ring on the inside, but we had a whole bunch of in and out play here on the turbo, which you can kind of see. So we're just replacing that entirely, On top of that, this here was missing a stud. So, I mean, I could tell that everything was off. This was probably not the original motor that was installed in this. It was probably installed a long time ago. Why someone would have had this off or this off and did anything with this back here on the back side of the motor is hard to say. We do have, this is actually leaking. There's oil in here, so we will be replacing that. I did pick out a nicer turbo right here. Just needs cleaned up a little bit. This is stuff off the shelf. Here's a stock elbow. Everything looks decent on that. It even actually has the studs for the downpipe. There is a couple minor small cracks in here. There's nothing in around the area where the turbo goes. And there are no cracks here across the top. So when you come to use manifold with these, there's really not many options. Every single one that I've ever seen has been cracked. And we're talking probably somewhere in the 200 range of manifolds and cars and engines. So, and that's just stuff I probably had apart. So right now, we're going to dig out everything we need. We're going to get our gasket surfaces prepped. Get this thing together. I think I might even pull the pan, clean the pan off, and install a new gasket on the bottom. We do have a new timing belt set in case this motor needs it. We're going to pour covers off and double check all that stuff. Down in through here. I mean, it looks like it's been on there a long time based on the rust on the idler. So we will probably be replacing that stuff. I have everything new. I did get a shaved black valve cover. So we'll be installing that when we install our new valve cover gasket. Best way to say that. So we are slowly working on getting this together. I got the harness fed in through. I got to do a little bit of repair to that. Just double check everything, go over everything. We got a new stock style center mount. Like I said, everything else looks good. The power steering cooler actually doesn't look too bad. I can straighten out some of them fins if I have the time. I have new control arms underneath the toolbox in a bag to go onto this thing once we get it up in the lift. I figure once the motor's set down in, I'll be pulling the wheels off, and at that time, maybe before I even drop the motor in, I can get the control arms back on because I'll be pulling the spindles apart. I think this thing does need some outer tie rod ends from what I remember, so I will have to address that issue, either pull them off of something or just get new ones and install them when I get them. So this is the Black 05 project. It's coming along. I'm not sure if I'm going to reuse these, keep these wheels on here or not. I did just get a nice set of stock wheels, but they will need all 4 tires. So it's just something that we'll have to address at the time, because I am putting this car back together with small mods. The whole plan is to have this thing assembled with all nice good parts, no problems, no issues, and you know, drive it for a little bit and you know, just make a nice car out of it. Or how can I say it, this thing won't be at the point where you're going to be needing to do restoration work before you even start modding stuff. So that's kind of where we're at. I mean, it does have some coilovers on it. It's going to have an aftermarket intake, possibly. But like I said, I mean, everything is going to be nice. We're going to get everything together, and we'll do a full detail on this. And, you know, see how it looks. So, just wanted to add that little update in here into the video. And today's project is get the motor ready to go in. Where's the transmission? Transmission's over here laying. So that's next to 2 extra spare heads that are just sitting here. So I just kind of have a mess in here. That's one other thing. Just parted out a car. There was this motor. This was from a car before, because it came from the black car, if you've seen that video. Like I said, this stuff over here, that's kind of extra parts from that car, and some of these parts actually go into another car that I'm working on out here. And the seats, they're from another car, and I got extra wiring. I got everything everywhere, so I just got to get these messes cleaned up and get some of these cars together, which is going to be the big part, because once they're together and all the parts are installed, they won't be sitting here in my corner anymore, which would be kind of nice. Alright, well, just a slight update. We have new water pump, timing belt, tensioner, idler, everything is cleaned up there. We actually pulled the pan off the bottom, cleaned everything up there. It has a new gasket in, clutch is on, trans is on, just kind of dusted some paint on the block itself so it looks a little nicer. Cleaned off some of the loose stuff. I mean, it's just, stuff gets old. So just trying to kind of clean it up so it lasts a little bit longer. Nice bracket on the side. We are going to be replacing the oil pan gasket. We did install another manifold. Didn't have the cracks. New exhaust manifold gasket there. Everything's installed here correctly. Replaced, swapped over this. Speedometer sensor was damaged on this one, so we stuck another one in. New seals in the trans. Man, just, you know, kind of touching base on everything to make sure that this thing goes in and it's once and done. I do have to throw an alternator on this thing yet, and it is pretty much actually to the point to be installed into here. I'm lucky enough to have two exhaust gaskets left. They are 3-inch, which kind of sucks that I'm using them for this, because I don't really need them, but I don't have the stock ones to stick in. So at this point, we're just really trying to get this thing in and assembled. So, I mean, one thing at a time is the best way to say this, but simply put, if we get this thing down in, we can set our power steering pump up to the side, and we can worry about getting all of our lower upper and lower side mounts in. Very little stuff needs to be done yet here to call this thing, man, like it should be running in like 2 or 3 days or less. This thing should be running tomorrow evening and driving at this point, seeing the motor is almost ready to go. I still got to pick out the seats, and there's like a giant mess yet to clean up, but this is going to be one of those projects. It's going to kind of be happy to get cleaned up and finished with. There's going to be a lot of little things that I'm going to do. So, I I mean, hey, we are one step closer, and I'll probably try to put this little bit of video together and see if I can't update off of this and maybe make a part 2. Getting this thing together the rest of the way, drop the motor in, and a little bit more of the assembly. But you know, this is just a quick, simple restoration job. So, you know, making this stuff together right, I'm not sure on this transmission. It was kind of untested, so this is going to be a test for the trans. So, I mean, I have like 3 or 4 other transmissions that I don't know if they're good or not, so I'll be able to do something with that. I got a few other pieces that I want to get painted up nice to put in here, along with getting the intake cleaned, double checking all my O-rings on my injectors. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. So this is where we'll cut this one,